Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Jared Sebesta of Tejas Financial Group, where we build purposeful retirement plans. At Tejas Financial Group, we believe retirement planning is so much more than just preparing financially. Our goal is to help retirees and pre-retirees steward their time, talent, and treasure. We have the tools and proven process to make sure your retirement plan delivers the greatest purpose, impact, and legacy. If you need help building a purposeful retirement plan specific for your life and your retirement, give us a call. Our number is 320-222-4236. You can request a meeting online at our website, tejasfinancial.com. And if you are in the neighborhood, just stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer, building purposeful retirement plans. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Before we get started with today's show, just a couple of reminders. We have had a couple of shows kind of dedicated to more of the non-financial parts of retirement, which is really a little bit of a curveball for some of you that listen to our shows recently. We had a show 2 weeks ago talking about how retirement should not primarily be a financial conversation. And then last week on the show, we talked about how to make every single day count in retirement. If you missed those shows, go back, listen to them. They're on our website, tejasfinancial.com. You can find all the shows there. You can find us on iTunes. Search Time, Talent, Treasure Radio on iTunes. Subscribe while you're there. And also, too, just a couple of weeks ago, we did a seminar called The Top 3 Retirement Lies, What They Are, and How to Avoid Them. That seminar is recorded and posted at our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Tejas Financial, subscribe while you're there, but you're going to notice a number of playlists. And so all of our content, including our latest seminar, is there. So again, I encourage you to go check that out. Ben Tejas joins me on the show. That's a mouthful, talking about all the stuff we've been talking about. But again, the past couple of shows, a little bit of a different flavor on the non-financial side, but we're going to take it back a little bit more financial on today's show.
Yeah, it's Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. So let's talk about the treasure a little bit. And I think many times on this show, we end up talking about conversations that are coming up in our regular meetings here. So, with our group of advisors, we're meeting with our clients throughout the summer, and this is a time where we're getting a lot of clients in, and we're reviewing portfolios, and that's exactly what we're doing, Jared. And something that's been coming up a lot in my meetings is, I thought we were kind of supposed to be in this recession, and I thought we're slipping in this recession, and actually what we're kind of seeing is that, the markets have been resilient, since the October of last year lows, and things seem to be doing quite well. Well, what's driving that? What's driving both the economy holding its own? Even the jobs market has looked, fairly decent lately. So what is driving that, especially in this interest rate environment?
Yeah, and I think that's been the sentiment. I remember as the year turned into 2023, I just can remember the narrative, so to speak, was just kind of buckle up. There's going to be a lot of volatility. Get ready for some ups and some downs. And that whole recession word was getting thrown around a lot. But again, here we are now kind of at that halfway point of the year and, for the most part, seeming fairly optimistic.
Yeah, it is. I think, we look at the GDP first quarter expansion that was, stronger than I think some people thought. I think it caught us a little bit by surprise there. And then I think looking at the interest rate environment, and historically, it does remain inverted. The interest rate on the 2-year Treasury notes is higher than that on the 10-year notes, which historically that should signal a recession. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, Jared. That's part of this show is when it comes to the treasure piece of, managing, and helping our clients, it's very clear. I don't know the future. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we need to do is look at why this is going on, and then try to just make sure that we're meeting with our clients, reviewing their risk tolerance, and really doing our best to make sure that their portfolio meets their life goals.
Yeah. In your opinion, what has kind of, driven some of the more optimistic results of this particular year? What do you say to that?
Well, I think that's something that I've been talking a lot with my clients lately is looking at the S&P 500. So if you look at the market overall, a lot of people like to use the S&P 500 as just kind of an index that they'll use to see how well is the market doing. So remember, the S&P 500 is a capitalization weighted index, which means that the larger stocks, so the bigger stocks, tend to have a greater influence on its returns. Okay, so right now we see that the S&P 500 is really quite high highly concentrated. And in fact, there's 7 big stocks that have been really, I think, this year driving a lot of the positive returns. And these 7 big stocks tend to be very technology driven. So those 7 stocks, just for reference, are Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Alphabet or Google, Amazon, Meta, which was Facebook, and Tesla, right? So those big 7, right? There's, I think, 496 other stocks. It's kind of weird. It's like the S&P 500 actually has more than 500 stocks in it. But so it's not bad math, Jared. It just happens to be it's 503 stocks total. You take away those 7, you're left with the 496 remaining. And what's happened is those particular 7 have really driven the positive returns. And if you start removing those stocks, specifically some of the larger ones of the index, it really changes the actual rate of return. So it's not uncommon in this market to see somebody who is investing in more of a value type index, something or a value type holding where the mutual fund manager is in more, whether it be value versus growth companies where they don't have some of those stocks, that thing is underperforming this year. And they're like, well, why am I not doing as well? So it's an interesting thing. You have these big 7 stocks, which have large market values. So big capitalizations, they're driving a lot of the returns. And those big 7 have been very positive this year, coming off of really a couple of years where they hadn't done as well.
I think the question I'm going to ask you next, but as an investor, person in retirement, someone approaching retirement, maybe 10, 15 years out, what do they need to be eyeballing? What should they be doing? What should be kind of their mindset here as we go through the rest of summer?
Well, Jared, I think this is a great time to be meeting with somebody and talking through your own personal portfolio. Maybe you own some of those companies, maybe you don't, but most importantly, you should understand what you have. So if you just say, I'm just investing in this index or that index or the market over here, this fund or that fund, understand what they're doing. Okay, be looking at your own specific goals, your time horizon, your risk tolerance, how close are you to retirement? Does some of these holdings make sense for you or not? That is really what it comes down to. Have a goal for each dollar you have. So if I'm meeting with somebody, one of the first things we do, we start to get to know them as a person, right? We understand, the time and the talent piece. What's important to you. And then we turn that final part of the conversation has to be about, what they're stewarding, their treasure. And when I look at that, I try to be very specific on understanding their goals, their objectives, and how close they are to retirement, their time horizon, and then you develop a plan from there.
We love working with pre-retirees and retirees that maybe have not worked with a professional, but just talk about giving folks a second opinion. We come across people all the time who say, I really don't know, and the person that I'm working with we haven't had these conversations. We invite those people into our office as well to have just to take a glance and give kind of a second set of eyes on that particular plan.
Yeah, I think it's important. Again, I've got a heart of a teacher, Jared. I love, our whole team does. We love explaining things, if there's no bad question. Sometimes you'll have a new person that's like, I never dared ask this, or I've never dared ask that. Please do. We love to educate and explain because it's so important that you understand what you have. Get a second set of eyes on things because, you only get to retire once. And that's something that we know. People many times, go through life events and they get to do these things one time. The advantage of working with somebody like us is our team's helped now thousands of people go through this step of retirement. We help them through that process and then work with them into their retirement years. And that's, I think, what makes us unique and what really adds value.
All right, sounds good, Ben. Well, if you are ready to begin your purposeful retirement plan, or you need a second opinion and a second set of eyes on your current retirement plan, we can help. There's a number of ways that you can set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting. First, give us a call at 320-222-4236. You can request a meeting online at our website, tagesfinancial.com. And if you live in West Central Minnesota and are in the neighborhood, just stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer. Office hours, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. I'm Jared Sebesta, joining you on this episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through an Avantax affiliated insurance agency.